importance that we have to work together on this. You know, there's no single company, there's no single NGO, there's no single government that can do this by themselves, and so, you know, collaboration is absolutely key. And the beauty of the dialogue that Dr. Borlaug started with the World Food Prize is the convening power to bring those voices together to address these global challenges and the impact that they can have. You know, and I just want to say that, you know, I don't underscore the challenges, but I am so optimistic regarding the potential of the tools we have that we can achieve this. I think it's also important, you know, from the point of view of the venue here, that I'm seeing a convergence of the thought processes of a lot of people who now see that there is a path forward, that there are things that we can do collectively. And I think we're reaching a point in time at a tipping point where, you know, there are always going to be disagreements on this approach or that approach, but I think collectively we can see that path, and that's I think been an important part of the dialogue that has been you know, started, you know, with the World Food Prize. So the combination, collaboration being key, dialogue being key. The only other thing I would add, and I know all of you you know, share this with you, and certainly David, you've been a real champion, and that's also another important part of Dr. Borlaug's legacy. Norm was always focused on who's going to carry the mission forward, and who will be that next generation that will take us and take the tools that have been developed today and move them to the next level that we need to. And those are going to be the young students and, you know, the young scientists that are trained and, you know, will pursue those careers in the future. And a really important part of the Borlaug legacy is that emphasis on training the next generation. So, you know, I'll just summarize and you know, make those points again on how important innovation will be, how important collaboration will be, how important it is that we focus on that next generation and work together. I'll close with one example on collaboration that's really had a big impact on me. And I was just having a chance just a few minutes ago before I walked in here to talk to some of our partners who worked on this project. But about 7 years ago, we worked with several public and charitable organizations to work on a food security problem in Africa. We call it, we focused on maize production in central sub-Saharan Africa. And the key there is everybody knows the importance of rice to the Asian diet. In that part of Africa, you know, corn and maize is the key staple carbohydrate. And so we worked together to create you know, more drought-tolerant protected maize for that important you know, food crop in Africa. We called the project Water Efficient Maize for Africa. That's a mouthful, so we abbreviate it to WEMA for short. And as you know, it's a tough climate, drought sensitive, and all of the indications from climate change are it will become even droughtier in the future. And at the same time, you know, corn is a staple for that diet and the millions of people who depend on it. So along with us, just mention some of the other partners because I think it's really instructive. We had the African Technology Foundation, AATF, as part of it. CIMMYT was a major donor of germplasm and technology. The Gates Foundation, the Howard Buffett Foundation were involved in funding, as well as USAID. And then another really important part of it is the National Agricultural Research Labs from the 5 countries that were involved were part of the program. 7 years later, this has become the largest freestanding maize breeding program in Africa. And what's exciting is 7 years later, a lot of hard work, a lot of partnership, a lot of collaboration. This year, smallholder farmers in Kenya were able to plant and look in trials the first hybrids. And under, you know, both adequate and stress conditions, we saw yields that were double and triple the current average yields in that country, just based on better seeds. And the reason I put so much focus on that is, you know, the beauty of technologies like the advances in biology and information technology is that their ability to be utilized with very few barriers to adoption is really prolific. And you give a farmer a better seed, every farmer in the world, even the smallest smallholder, knows what to do with a better seed. They can have a tremendous impact. So we're very optimistic about this program, but also, the lessons learned were the importance of collaboration, partners working together, the realization that this was a 7-year program to get to this point, that there's still work to do, and nobody, in retrospect, could have done it by themselves. Gates, with all their money, couldn't have done it. Monsanto, with all our capabilities, without the local connections and the civic partnership, couldn't have done it. And it's really a nice example of working together, how we can make a huge difference, and now how we replicate and scale that across other crops and other geographies is so important. And in many ways, that's what a lot of the conversations have been about in the meetings over the last couple of days, is how we create partnerships, how we work together, how we look at the challenges that we face, and how we work together to make a difference as we lead up to 2050. And kind of coming back to the point you raised, David, I mean, I feel Dr. Borlaug's presence here as well. We're celebrating this year the 100th anniversary of his birth, and he'll always be a part of this. And but at the same time, I think while Dr. Borlaug led that first very important green revolution, it's really up to all of us to lead the next one. And we need an evergreen revolution, for the future. And that's what I think we can do working together. And that's why I think, bringing the panel together and all the folks is another important step as we move to that goal. So with that, I'll say thank you for the opportunity to speak to you. I'll be happy to expand on that or ask any questions. I'm going to be able to be here for probably another 15 or 20 minutes, and then I'm going to go help celebrate some of the other award winners and who are part of the World Food Prize. Thank you.
Questions for Rob?
I told you I had a question. I found it interesting that you were talking about the ability to take land out of production, and mentioned pretty big numbers for that. And in your list of kind of what that land might go for, you didn't mention urbanization and taking land out of production, which is occurring now.
Sure.
Permanently
Yeah.
for that. I was just wondering if you have any
Yeah, I think
insights about
so.
that.
There's no doubt that if you look at all the land that's been technically put into agricultural production, and all the land that's been taken out for urbanization or some of the other uses of land, as I said, we've effectively reached a peak footprint for agriculture, and we've fed the last 2 billion people basically almost net in terms of agricultural land for production, because we've been able to create improvements in efficiency. And now we're on the verge of launching major new tools in terms of the advances in seed and biology and the advances in information technology. I think we will we'll always see land going into urbanization, but I think even net of that, we will be able to reduce agriculture's footprint. And there's been a couple of very prominent papers and articles written to this point. And I think it's doable. I also think it's the kind of goal that I think will both galvanize and excite a lot of people. The goal of leading to that next generation, both a food secure world, but a world with an improved environment, I think is really exciting, and it's the kind of goal that I think Dr. Borlaug would like to see us shoot for.
Any other questions? Yes, sir.
Dr. Fraley, you indicated, you said the right tools and the right policies. What policies would you advocate for moving more in a more sustainable direction?
Well, in terms of the tools, I mean, I start with the point of view, there are a lot of tools, and I think we've spent way too much time within the ag and the food industry talking about, biotechnology, GMOs, debates between conventional and other agricultural systems. And, we will need, all the tools and use them, carefully and selectively to sustainably intensify the land that we're farming today. From a policy perspective, there are countries, as you know, around the world who limit and restrict, access to tools to their farmers. There's policy decisions that delay the approval of technologies and the adoption. And I look at it through the scientific lens with an absolute confidence and belief that we can achieve food security and we can take land out of production. The challenge that we all face is the challenge of both communicating and gaining alignment. But again, what I'm sensing is there's more and more of that consensus building that we need to move forward now with the actions. Over the last year, in addition to participating in the World Food Prize, I've had the opportunity to spend time with thought leaders at the Aspen Institute, at the Clinton Global Initiative, at some of the other, the Chicago Forum. And what you see in all these dialogues is people are coming to that same conclusion, that the answer is, let's take the land that we're farming today, let's farm it more sustainably and more intensively, and that helps freeze agriculture's footprint. Let's use all the tools that we have available, and it's more than just the innovation tools. It's addressing food waste. It's addressing the other challenges that we